Sippers, welcome to this episode of the Tea With Me podcast with me, Shane Todd. You're very welcome along. I don't know what episode this is of the pod. I feel like this is maybe episode 15 or 16 or something like that, but same old pod, same old beverage. Look at the size of this cup. I'm not bragging, but I have a big black cup, and I'm drinking some straight up tea out of it. I also have this little coaster. I don't know if I've talked about this in the podcast before. I got this coaster, which is like, you can only obviously see this on the video podcast, in Smithfield Shopping Centre behind Castle Court. Smithfield's one of those weird places if you've never been to it. Oh, by the way, there's like a retro football shop there where I got that coaster. Smithfield, if you've never been to it, it's beside Castle Court. And I just realised when I went to describe it, the only way you can describe Smithfield is, it's probably been around for, I don't know, hundreds of years. It's a sort of place, if you wanted to get nunchucks and Filipino food, you could get it there. 1000%, probably in the same shop. They sell like old army military gear. Like, I'm pretty sure you could probably get some Nazi gear if that's what you're into. And then also they sell like martial arts gear, and there's like a trophy shop, and probably there would definitely be a place that sells bird food in there. I don't know what the theme is of Smithfield Market, but it's a wee bit of everything and then some other things, let's just say. I mean, there's things I think you could get there that would not strictly be legal. But I'm not accused. I just mean, like, and I don't even think the people would know that they weren't legal. Like, there's definitely guys with shops at Smithfield Market, and you'd be like, mate, I don't know if you can sell this. And he's like, what's wrong with that? And you go, well, it's an undetonated World War II bomb, mate, so I don't think you can sell it. He's like, alright, I was going to sell you that in a multi-pack of Iron Brew. That's a vibe of Smithfield. That banter's very niche, but for anyone that's been to Smithfield Market, you'll be going, yes, this is what I've always wanted. Someone to just riff on Smithfield. I don't know, I like it. Smithfield Market. I think I got a pair of camping boots or something there whenever I was going away with school years ago. Smithfield Market. Belfast. You know what? It's been that long since I've been into Belfast because of the old locked up that I'm missing Belfast as a city, and I've always liked Belfast. You know, I like Belfast as a city. I think it's a good place, but I never thought I had that much of an attachment to it. And then I was just thinking, God, I probably am in Belfast, I don't know, 4 days a week. And I miss it. I miss the goths in City Hall. And I mean, what are they doing now? Where are the goths? Can we please check in on the goths that used to sit in City Hall? Where are they congregating now? Have they just built themselves benches in their gardens? I mean, they won't be out today because the sun's out. But yeah, I like to think Belfast City Council have done the right thing and given benches, just like temporarily, to the goths so they can just sit out the back. The goths at City Hall. God, I miss those guys. I love those guys. I mean, I love them, and you know, they wouldn't love me, you know what I mean? They wouldn't love my style, they wouldn't love my haircut. But yeah. And because obviously they hate everything. Whoa. I mean, the thing about those goths is, I don't know what age they are. I feel like the same ones have always been there, and yet somehow they range from between 14 to 37, and there's one guy who's like 56 and shouldn't be there, but he's there. You know, like, he's probably not a goth, but he's like, oh, opportunity. You know, I don't know what I'm saying, but I miss those guys. The goths at City Hall. Oh my God. Take me back, Dervla. I miss it. What else do I miss in Belfast? I miss just like wide boys. You know what I mean? Like, I miss, I miss seeing like low level crime in Belfast city centre. I remember whenever I was in tech, we used to just, in our lunch breaks, just walk around city centre because we went to Millfield, which is beside Smithfield Market, funny enough, and near enough. And yeah, people don't want that podcast content, me debating for more than 3 seconds how far away tech is to Smithfield Market. But I remember we were standing outside WH Smith on Royal Avenue in Belfast City Centre, and this guy just strolled out with about 60 brand new Harry Potter DVDs, like whatever Harry Potter film was out that day or week. He just walked past us and he just winked and went, and that's how it's done, and then just sprinted down Royal Avenue. And I've thought about that guy every day since then. Every day since then, I have thought about that guy. And if he's watching, hope you got your shit together. I mean, he's maybe just like, he's in, I mean, for all I know, he paid for it, and he's just a major Harry Potter fan, and he's like, I'm going to burn through these, so I may as well get more than one. Shout out to that guy, and shout out to Harry Potter. Harry Potter, what a guy. I was big into Harry Potter. There's people who are just watching and listening to this podcast for the first time go, what's the theme? I have a cup of tea with me. That's all you need to know. I was very big into Harry Potter, like the first 3 or 4 books. And then J.K. Rowling was like, oh, we're bringing out new books and they're 700 pages. And I went, no. You know, I said, And she said, no, there's more pages. There's more of a story. And I was like, no, I don't read books that big. And then I just, you know, start stealing cars instead. But yeah, Harry Potter was a fucking great guy. I mean, that guy seriously deserved way more credit. Like what the adversity he came through, like living under the stairs, getting bullied by that wee fat bastard Dudley, you know, to becoming one of the premier wizard guys, you know, one of the main wizard fellas, you know, and that, I think that actually was his title. I remember reading those books and being really jealous that he went to Hogwarts because it sounded class. I was like, oh, I just go to a regular school, you know. Although I went to Campbell, which actually looks a wee bit like Hogwarts, and I'd say in the past has taught wizard and wizardry. I don't know. Sorry, that was a big slurp and gulp. But you know me, lads. You know me, lads. If it's black and thick, give me a shout. That's very aggressive. It's been a nice temperature today. The sun has been out. I've been a real, as Tyson Fury would say, Dosser. That's Dosser, by the way, not Tosser. I was supposed to paint. For anyone who's tuning in, going, man, you've been talking about painting the fence recently. Where are you at with that? Today, I opened the bucket of paint. I stood with the paintbrush. I did a couple of strokes and then went, and then I picked up the paintbrush, and that's shit under. But then I just started lying in the sun, and that's what I've been doing all day. But I'm out of paint. So a lot of people think it's maybe tasteless doing this, but if my level of celebrity, which I don't know what it, like in Northern Ireland terms, it's probably all right. You know, I think it would definitely be better if I worked at it more. Like if I was more, you know, wanting to be like a celebrity kind of influencer, like guy. Because you know me, I'm all about the craft. You know, I'm all about the craft until now where I'm making no money. I'll do anything at the minute, like anything at all for cash right now. But what I'm saying is, if my level of well-knownness, let's call it that, because there's no such thing as a celebrity in Northern Ireland, and a lot of people need to be told that. A lot of people need to know that, and a lot of people, I don't know why I've gone Trump, but a lot of people need to stop buying followers on social media. That's not important. I shouldn't say anything, but I will say this. Just because you're like, no. Okay, I'm just going to say this. Don't buy social media followers, because I feel like you can always tell. And then you look through the followers and you see, like, you know, a lot of like Chinese type writing, a lot of like Russian accounts, and you're going, I don't know if the people of Dagestan are following certain people. But I'm just saying this, don't be doing it. It's sly. Don't buy followers. Just let it be natural. Alright? Just be like pubic hair in the 80s. Anything goes. Let it flow. Alright? No Brazilians. Don't isolate that clip and make it seem like I was being racist, being like in local media, no Brazilians. The more the merrier. But my point is this. If people watching know me and have any links to like a hardware shop, you know, if like your dad owns a hardware shop or your uncle works at B&Q, can you get me Ron Seal medium oak paint, fence paint? I need probably somewhere around 9 litres, but I could probably make 5 work. If you can get me 5 litres and whack in a few paintbrushes, I'd be delighted. Can you make this happen for me? Let me know privately. And in no way is this a joke. I want to be an influencer. I'll maybe send you some pictures. Say you own a hardware shop, you can get for your social media some pictures of me topless. And I know you're going, no man, they don't need to be topless. Yes, topless, painting my fence, getting a bit of a sweat on. Maybe I've got a lemonade. Think about it. Ron Seal, fence paint, medium oak. Let me know if you can source it, because hey, I need it. If you can source it up like my man Harry Potter, let me know. I've got loads of listeners' questions today. I say it all the time, but I do. So I've got listeners' questions today. I'm going to get through those. Before we go on with the pod, I don't have a charity appeal today to do. What I've been saying the last couple of weeks, I've been doing on the pod is, if you have a charity or you're hosting some sort of like good cause thing, like some sort of event, no matter what it is, unless it's for a paramilitary, get in touch with teawithmepodcast@gmail.com and I'll read it out in the middle of the podcast, because we're not we don't have sponsors at the minute, so we'll do some charity stuff. Seems like that would be a good call, good thing to do. Let me drink some more of this delicious tea. See these cups, right? What are these? Next. Oh, see these cups? They're the perfect amount of tea in them, because let's face it, the Sports Direct mug is too much. I used to have one of those when I worked in a call centre, the big 7-litre Sports Direct mug, and that's too much tea. But that is the perfect amount. So I'm enjoying that. Yeah, it's I feel like I keep saying on the podcast that I feel weird that when the sun's out at the minute, I'm feeling good. And I think I'm getting more comfortable with that. Not comfortable with saying the word comfortable, but comfortable with that we should, at the minute, we should take our wee victories, you know. And if the sun's out and you're lying getting a wee bit of a tan on, drinking a Diet Coke, you should just go, this is good. This is good. Because obviously things aren't good at the minute, but I think the more wee things you can do that you enjoy, you should, and you shouldn't feel bad about it, because we've got to keep our spirits up, you know. I'm missing stand-up so bad. I went through a thing of at the very start of lockdown and all this. I got frustrated. I was like, I want to get back out and do stand-up, because I've been doing so many gigs before this, because I've got I'm looking at a whiteboard in my office at the minute. By the way, I've got to give this office to the baby down the line, like in the in the near future. I've got to give this over to the baby. I was going to say it, but people don't like that. But that is what we're calling it, but 2 T's. And I then have to go into like the wardrobe room, like the spare room, and I am less than pleased about it. So in the future, baby, if you're watching, selfish, very selfish. But I have a whiteboard here, and I've been working on the new hour of stand-up that I should have been starting in September. Still might, who knows, but I don't know, 50-50 on whether gigs will happen around September kind of time, especially with my kind of numbers, you know what I mean. But blessing and a curse, you say. But I'm working on the new hour, and just before lockdown, I was just doing as many gigs as I possibly could, like, you know, 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there, and I was so happy with the new hour. You know, I was like really in a good place with it all, and then all the gigs stopped. So it's that one of like, when the gigs start up again, we'll all need time to not be rusty, you know. So you can't just go. There's no way I'd just go out and do tour shows. I need to do spots. And by the way, we call like gigs spots. You know, you go out and do a spot. That means you go out and do a set. So I think I'm gonna start doing stand up out loud to myself in the house, and as I write new bits. I've never ever done that. I've never done that in the 13 years I've been doing stand up. A lot of people going, It's weird you've been doing stand-up for 13 years because you look like a 22-year-old Tommy Hilfiger model. Well, no one said that, but some people might have thought it with a bit of prompting. I've never done that. That feels weird to me. People that can walk about and go, "Hey, any students in?" You know, I don't know. I feel like there is a merit in it, and I have come around a wee bit more recently to the idea of doing like stand up online, maybe some sort of Zoom thing. I don't know. I feel like if you approached it in the right way and you weren't thinking this is going to be like when you do stand up in Lavery's or wherever, I think if you approach it of this is going to be really different, but let's just see what happens, I think it could be a bit of fun. So I went through this period where I missed stand up so bad at the start. Then I looked at it like, and Dave Elliott and I were chatting about this, where it's almost like maybe I should enjoy my first break from stand up in pretty much 13 years, because even like I've only been doing this full time for about 5, and maybe I was doing it for 8 years. Yeah, about 8 years as a hobby. But even when I was doing it as a hobby, I was still doing it a couple of times a week at least, and maybe sometimes 5 times a week, 6, whatever it was. So maybe I should just enjoy the break. And you know, I think when you take a step away from stand up, you can start to come up with more material, because you're almost like giving your brain a rest. Because I'm always going, can that be a bit? Is that a bit? Someone says something to me really innocuous, like, all right mate, you have the time. I give them the time, but then in my head I'm like, is there a bit of material in the way that guy said that? And it can be annoying sometimes, because I'm not like Matt Damon in Good Will Hunting. I'm not like, you know, writing a big board and stuff, but I then started to go, do you know what, this break's good. And then today I went, nope, want to be back out doing stand-up. And somebody got in touch with me and said, I think one of your tour shows is cancelled. And I said, no, it's not. And then we just found out that it is. And we weren't like told about it. So I think I'm a little bit grumpy because of that. But that I think that's going to be the way it is for a lot of people, you know, because nothing's really going on. Anything that happens gets like magnified. So normally I'd be like, do you know what? Don't worry, that's fine. But now I'm now I'm ready to fight, you know. And I just want to do stand up. I've been thinking about creative ways to do stand up when the lockdown eases. Obviously, if it's okay, like you know, going alongside the government advice. But there's definitely ways to do stand-up that aren't traditional. And I think I've come up with a wee bit of an idea. If it goes anywhere, I'll let you know and I'll invite you to it. But we'll see. I think it would be class, and it'd be a way for me to finally just get doing stand-up again. Imagine I did stand-up again and just had a French accent. Just my own jokes, you know, spoke English, but just with a French accent. And then other comedians were asking me about it, like, why are you doing that? And I just had no idea I was doing it. Like, mate, what are you talking about? You know, I'd get up on stage. Hello? Has anybody noticed? You know, and that's German. But that's fine, because when you're in lockdown, you forget how to do accents. And don't judge others, is what I'm saying, okay? But yeah, I don't know if you guys find this in any way interesting, me talking about the inner workings of my mind when it comes to stand-up, but I really miss it. I miss getting up and doing stand-up, even when it goes badly. I would honestly, I would walk to Dublin right now for a bad gig. I mean that, like, just to get on stage and be telling jokes, is such an amazing thing, and I think I'll appreciate stand-up way more. I think I talked about this a couple of weeks ago. I definitely don't not appreciate stand-up, and you know, I am really grateful to be able to do it. But it's only now that it's like taken away that I think more like I get to do my dream job. You know, the way like people want to be a footballer or whatever. I mean, I definitely do want to be a footballer as well. And that's something I might pursue after this. I might sign for like Barcelona or Real Madrid for a while just to get my finances back up, because they are. But well, you know, I'm down to my last million. Put it that way. But with stand up, I mean, it literally is my dream job. And after, maybe everyone's thinking like this, but after this, I'm going to be way more productive. Although I haven't been writing loads of material, but I think with a bit of vitamin D, with the sun out, I think I'm coming more round to going, yep, let's lock myself away for a couple hours and let's write some new jokes. Obviously while drinking tea the whole time. It's just about got the temperature where I don't want to drink anymore. So yeah, this is a solo episode of the podcast. I've got a guest coming on this week. I'm actually recording 2 guest episodes this week, and we'll release them over the next couple of weeks. They'll be fun episodes. I think people will enjoy them. 2 very different guests, but we're going to keep doing this thing on Wednesday and Fridays, and you've got the Patreon episode on a Monday. So before I do listeners' questions and your topics and the things that you want to talk about, which we will do right now, let me just plug the Patreon, which is patreon.com/teawithmepodcast. That will also get you a Monday episode, and it's not like an afterthought. The Patreon episodes are different to this because we have a different theme, and it's me and producer Dan, and we'll do things like look at what are considered the top 10 films of all time, the top 10 albums of all time. Different theme every week. We just did the album one this Monday, and it was really enjoyable. I think you'll enjoy it. Just something a bit different. So the Patreon episode, I think, is good value. It comes out every Monday. Patreon.com/teawithmepodcast. You get loads more things, giveaways, free stuff, all that kind of thing when you sign up for it. But I also totally understand that money is tight for a lot of people. Maybe not earning at the minute like myself. So if it's something you can't help with, totally understandable. But if you can get me Ron Seal medium oak paint, 9 litres, or I'll take 12 and a couple of paint brushes, you've more than made up for it. Let's get back into listeners' questions on the second half of the pod. Sip. Sippers, we're back with the second half of the podcast and your shout outs, your questions, all that kind of stuff. I say shout outs, I'm in Radio Ulster mode for Friday nights. We don't do shout outs in the podcast, but we do listeners' questions. And I said do there, which sort of made me laugh internally. Rebus says, who's a dream guest you'd love to have on the podcast? And what would your most insightful, thought-provoking question be? Very good question, Rebus. I enjoy that. My dream guest, it's difficult to know what would constitute a dream guest because you can look at that 2 ways. I can either look at that and go, who do I think the listeners would love the most on the podcast? Or if I was being selfish, who would I love the most? But then that would probably be a good episode because I would be so buzzing to do it. There's a lot of people I would really like to have. This is maybe a bit niche, especially for like younger listeners and viewers, but Christy Dignam from Aslan are a band from Dublin who have been going for years. I think they started the same time U2 did, and they have a song called Crazy World, which is one of my favourite songs ever. And Christy's their lead singer. He has a real interesting, he's led a very colourful life. He was like complete drug addict. He's had loads of health scares. The band broken up and got together a load of times, but we went to see them live in Vicar Street in Dublin a couple of years ago, and in fact it was 2 years ago, and live they're outstanding. And he's been on the Late Late Show a few times on RTE covering some like very traditional Irish songs, and I think he'd have a great story. I actually reached out to his manager a couple of months ago and he said yes, he would do it. And I haven't followed up on that yet because of the lockdown thing, and he's based in Dublin, but that's one I'll do. And I think his story will be interesting enough that if you haven't heard of him or the band, I think you'll enjoy it. And obviously some people will have heard of them. Other people I'd like to interview, I'm a huge Rolling Stones fan, so I'd love to interview anybody from the band. And if any of the lads, or if Mick or any of the Keith or any of the boys are watching, yes, you can come. They're probably watching, going, "I'd love Mick Jagger's probably watching, going, I'd love to do his podcast." Mick, get in touch. You can. And Mick, if you know anybody at Ronseal, come do the podcast. You can be in my front garden and do it. And I'll shout from upstairs and bring some paint with you, my man, and I'll get you on board. I'd love to have someone from the Rolling Stones on. Um, I'd like to have Rory McIlroy on for an episode. I think people would enjoy that, because I've spent so many years talking about him through Mike McGoldrick as a close personal friend, and I think that I'd be interested to talk to him about what he thinks of that. Whether he thinks that's good banter, or he's like, hey mate, stop doing that. So would love to get him on for an episode. And then just comedians. I'd like to have like, I'm big into American comedy, so I'd like to get some of my favorite American comedians on, like Chris D'Elia, Brian Callen, Theo Vaughn, Ali Wong, people like that, Tom Segura, Brooke Kreischer. There's a load of people, and my attitude at the minute is just ask anyone. Ask anyone that I'm thinking of getting. Not just ask anyone. Like, I'm not on the phone to, Keith Chegwin, being like, Cheggers, come do it. Although I definitely would get him on. What would be my most insightful, thought-provoking question? I don't do insightful, thought-provoking questions. If you're looking for that, you'll know, Rebus, that this is not the podcast. No, I don't. I think if you got into a conversation and it happened to go that way, where it got a bit deep, that would be grand. But my natural place to go is just silly, light, kind of, fun chat, because I don't like to do the questions that people are asked on any podcast or interview they do. So I like to kind of mix it up a bit, and ask them sillier type questions. But cheers for that. Chewy Louis says, shooting stars the next few nights. Is there a flat earth? I don't know what that means. Is there supposed to be shooting stars in the sky? Or are you just watching the TV program with Vic and Bob, shooting stars for the next few nights? Is there a flat earth? I'm gonna say no, man. By the way, my battery is dying on my camera, which makes me so sad, because I'll have to charge that, and it's gonna cut off. Is there a flat earth? I'm gonna say no, because I think so many people would have to know about it that somebody would tout 1000%. Like, if I was working for the group or whatever it is that was protecting the secret that there's a flat earth, I would definitely have a couple of ciders and tell everybody I know on WhatsApp some night. So probably not. And then again, if someone was able to go, Shane, you are the 54th most well-known person in Northern Ireland, born in 1988, come with me, and they took me to some sort of secret room and showed me proof that the world was flat, I would very quickly just probably want to get food. I'd just be like, all right, okay, thanks. I mean, it's not going to impact my life in any way. But also, why are they saying the earth is flat? Sorry, why would the government not be like the world government? Why would they not be telling you? I need to get Connor Keys and Mickey Bartlett for this, because they like conspiracy theory chat. I don't know anything about it, as you can tell, but what's in it for them saying that the earth is round? Is it that all these people that are saying that invest in snow globe companies? So if it proved the world was flat, they would just not be selling as much. I don't know. I'm going to say I'm not the best qualified guy for that, but I don't think that the earth is flat, because because when you're up on a plane and you look at the world, sometimes it looks like you can actually see curvature. I don't know, but what I like to think is some people are watching this going, he fucking knows. He knows something. I do know some things, but if the earth is flat or not is not one of them. I have no idea. Ronan Burke says, Hi Sippa Middleton, which I enjoy because I call people sippers that listen to this, and he said Sippa Middleton. Any new music artists you've got into over lockdown? Here's the thing. I put the Alexa out the back. Alexa's the Amazon thing, by the way, not like my dog. I put Alexa out the back and play music at like a fine level. You know what I mean? Like, it's not going to piss off the neighbours. What I will ask Alexa to play, not new artists by any means, but I'm asking for a lot of Bob Marley. I'm asking for the Beach Boys, the Beatles, Fleetwood Mac. So I haven't got into anybody new, I don't think, music-wise, have I? No, I don't think so, Ronan. I'm just keeping it. I'm sticking to what I know. I feel like I know all the artists. I I, I know all the artists I want to listen to. And about a year ago, I went bang. That's it. I'll just concentrate on these guys. I'm not really looking to discover anybody new. But if there's anyone you think I should know about, tell me. Johnny Bow says, where would be the first choice venue for a live tea with me? Well, there 1,000% will be a live tea with me. When and where, who knows? But it will happen. And if you're a signer upper, if you're very rich and you sign up to the top tier of the Patreon, you get a free ticket to that. But if you're a Patreon member, I will tell you first where the live podcast is going to be. But by the way, you'll still be able to go. So for anyone who can't sign up to Patreon, don't be like, oh fuck, I can't go. 7 people from Patreon will go, and the venue will hold 7,000. You'll be able to get a ticket. Where am I doing it? Probably the SSE. SSE Arena, Tea With Me podcast, but it's in Pizza Hut. I don't know. I think someone asked us this around the first week of the podcast, or maybe I just was chatting about it. I would love to do it in like an old-fashioned tea rooms. I think that would be a lot of fun. Or if not, we would probably just have to get like a venue and set it up like a tea room. So we'd put like tablecloths out. We'd have what do you call it, like teapots. We'd have wee cups and saucers, all that. So maybe we just get somewhere and we can decorate it like a tea rooms, or maybe we can do it in some sort of nice tea rooms. I don't know. I think it'll be a lot of fun. I'd probably get a guest or two on. We do a live one. We'll do a bit of stand up, but there definitely will be a live Tea With Me podcast. And hey, that will not be rowdy, because there will just be 70-80 people sipping on tea. Although you can bring booze too. That's what I'm going to have. You can sip on tea, but then you can also bring booze on the side, but you kind of do have to also be drinking tea. More questions. Matthew Mernon, good morning, says, talk about the Belfast Telegraph comment section. I think if you ever have self-doubt about yourself as a person and your character, you can go onto the comment section of the Belfast Telegraph, like on their Facebook, and you can instantly feel better and go, maybe I'm not a fucking idiot. You know, there's something that warms your soul when you go, you know, Belfast Telegraph will put something up like, here's a funny picture of a cow with a hat on, and 4 comments down, someone's going, what did you say, you fucking hun? To someone else above. On the Belfast Telegraph Facebook comment section, you can see that they've posted up about there's an arts and crafts fair coming to Macrofelt and kids can get in free, and 4 comments down, someone is going, when are they giving the 6 counties back? And you're going, how did you get there that quick? It's fastpass. What the Belfast Telegraph Facebook comment section is fastpass sectarianism. People are just straight in. Somebody's like, Adele announces Belfast huge concert. 3 comments down, some guy, and the camera's so close to his face. His profile picture's like this. Like the camera's so close in, and it's taken from like a below angle. Why are Protestants ugly? You know, so I enjoy that. And guys, I gotta be honest with you, in between me talking about that, my camera battery died, and I went downstairs and had my dinner while it charged. And I was raging because it was in such a good flow of banter. But you know, these things happen, and I went down and had my dinner, and I had some gluten-free pasta, some bolognese, not bolognese, bolognese sauce, and chicken, onion, and mushroom, and it was really good. I've got more questions. On Twitter, and here are them. Oh yeah, it was Matthew Mernon saying about the comment section of Belfast Telegraph. Yeah, enjoyable, always enjoyable. Matt Moore says, which is similar to Matthew Mernon, did you know that instead of getting abuse for going shopping in his fancy London trousers, JC Stewart actually opened his own shop in Macrofelt, Chancer? And you sent me a link to the JC Stewart food hall in Macrofelt. I mean, that has to be owned by somebody in his family, surely. JC JC. So JC was my guest last week on the podcast, and he's a singer-songwriter, and he's from Macrofeld. But there's a supermarket in Macrofeld called JC Stewart. Does he own it? Should I ask him if I can give him a call? I'm gonna message him. He's probably like, nah man, I'm doing like a live gig for Radio 1 right now. I don't have time to answer this. But Matt, we always want to get the truth on this pod. So JC, I'm gonna say, hey mate, I'm live on the podcast. I'm not actually live, but you know, it's industry chat. He'll know what I mean. I'm live on the pod. Someone's asking a question for you about Macrofeld. I mean, I feel like that's something he would mention, and it's also probably not though like a rock and roll. Cause he's like, you know, he's a proper musician. Like that's not the sort of investment you'd make. Be like, get me a food hall in Macrofeld. Someone's asking a question for you about Macrofeld. Can I call you and ask you? Can I call you on the podcast now to ask you about it? To ask you, just a voice call. Yeah, we'll see what this guy's up to, because it would be good to know. That can't be coincidence. He's JC Stewart from Macrofeld. There is a JC Stewart food hall, like a big massive garage in Macrofeld. What is the link? We will find out on this hard-hitting investigative podcast. He's also online on Instagram right now. Folks, this has not been set up beforehand. This is cutting-edge tea-based podcast content right here. Will JC Stewart respond? Or does JC Stewart know that he's been rumbled? Is he like, fuck, I should have changed the name so people wouldn't know that it was me that owned it? Also, does he have more important things to be getting on with? Yes, probably. While he hopefully gets back to me, he might just mug me off and not. I wouldn't get back to me on this, but while we do that, we'll get another question. This question comes from, I hope that I'm pronouncing this right, but Roya, Rawya. Roya. If I'm pronouncing it wrong, I can only apologise. And the question is, dating advice and relationship advice for people in their 30s. I mean, I feel like one thing you've here's the thing, I think when people are in their 30s, I think we look our best in our 30s. Any photo of me from before 2 years ago, I look awkward and weird, and I still awkward and weird now, but less awkward. I think you grow into your face and your features. So I think your 30s is an ideal time to be on the dating scene. I would say, for me, I can only talk about being a guy, right? But I think, do you know what I think right now? I'm looking out my window and I was about to go, the sky's a lovely colour. But that's not what you're here for. You're here for other things. I think the number one thing for dating advice is be vague. You know, whenever you're out on dates, you know, people are like, tell me all about yourself. Don't. That gives the game away. You got to keep an air of mystery. So if I was on a date, you know, and the girl was like, oh, I've got to tell you about something funny after this. It's totally unrelated. Rude of me to do this, but if I was on a date and the person goes, so you know, so you know what sort of kid were you in school? I would go like this. What you don't do is go, oh yeah, pretty shy. You know, played a bit of football. What you don't do is that you go like this. They say, what sort of kid were you in school? You go like this. Just a kid. And they say, oh, okay, did you like school? And you go, school, you know. That's what I would say. I would say be aloof, be vague, and just don't commit to answers. That would be my thing. That is not a podcast question. That's totally unrelated. JC Stewart has gone offline. So he was online, might have seen the question, and has dodged it. So we will never know if JC Stewart owns the JC Stewart Food Hall in Macrofeld. But if I get more information on that, I will of course keep you posted. Oh yeah, what distracted me during that is I put up a tweet there, a fucking hilarious 8 out of 10 tweet about paint at the minute because nobody can get paint. I was thinking about what we've been chatting about me needing Ronseal. And I thought I'd make a joke about the fact that nobody has paint. So I said, I tried local dealers and even some websites using a VPN, going off my nut here. Anyone sort me with Ronseal medium oak fence paint can pay in cash. Now, that was just an innocuous joke, basically being like, no one can get paint. People are fucking lovely. And so many people are just getting back to me being like, hey man, I know a place. Okay? And I love that and I feel really bad about it. Yeah, like loads of people are just getting back to me and being like, mate, I can get you. You know, and I feel I feel really bad. Because Dave Elliott just texted me and said, mate, Catherine, his wife, he's like, mate, Catherine knows a place in Cumber can sort you out, you know? Like, I do want the paint, but here's the thing, I can't travel to go and get it. I can only go somewhere that's on my daily walk. So I can only go somewhere like really close to me because I'm doing all the good stuff. I'm not going to just drive somewhere to get paint. Now, if somebody wants to drive to me, I'm only joking. I'm only going to get paint in one of two shops in the town that I live in, and hopefully they have more in. So Beverly says, I'm not a tea person. Well, not a hot tea person. So what tea would you recommend for a beginner to start out sipping? Here's the thing, I wouldn't start sipping too fast. Take it in 1 week, then you go to 3 a week, then 3 months later you're drinking tea every day, but don't just jump in. You know, ease yourself. It's like a warm bath. Ease yourself into it. JC Stewart has just said, yeah, all good. Here we go. Can I make a call on the pod? Oh my god, he's giving me his number. Guys, we're going to find out right now, live in the podcast, if JC Stewart owns the JC Stewart Food Hall in Macrofeld.
Yeah, what's that?
Hey man, I've got a question that's been posed by a listener. We need an answer like tonight on this.
Okay, alright. Is it a big question?
Yeah, it's really big.
Okay.
Do you own or are you the JC Stewart of JC Stewart Food Hall fame in Macrofeld?
No, this is a complicated question.
Right, we're here for this.
Here for this. It's a big drama. No, it's not really. Yes. In a short answer, I am. That is me. My family used to own that up until like 3 or 4 years ago.
Right.
Like Spar owned it or something like that. But my name is John Callum Stewart, named after the shop. So I am named after what is essentially a Spar now.
I mean, I didn't expect this level of answer. I really enjoy all elements of this because I didn't think you would be that JC Stewart. To find out you were named after, to get the background of, you know, it was like a Spar buyout. I enjoy all of it. Did you, now that Spar bought it over, do you have to incorporate Spar into your name, or were you able to just keep it the same?
Well, it was meant to be JC Spar for the stage name, but I luckily got out of that one. There was some legal wrangling to go on, but we've moved on.
Can I just ask, does the fact that your family like own it and you're called after it, does that cut any mustard, if you will, when you go to JC Stewart Food Hall in Macrofeld? Like,
all I'm saying is there used to be 10% staff discount, and now there is no longer 10% staff discount. So do with that what you will.
Right, well, we're gonna get this clip. We're gonna get this clip out there, and we're gonna get that reinstated for the Stewart family. How about that?
Sounds good.
All right, man. Thanks a lot. Appreciate that. Hope you're well.
No worries. All right. Have a good one.
Cheers. Bye. You started listening to this podcast tonight. You had no idea. If JC Stewart was the JC Stewart of the Food Hall in Macrofeld. Looks like you just found your answer. Also, I've just realised that we weren't recording audio through the laptop, so I'm going to have to take the laptop through the camera. No, I'm not. I'm going to take the audio through the camera. But we all make mistakes. And producer Dan will be rolling his eyes and tutting. And I say to you, sir, don't. But there you go. I feel like that was worth it. We got to find out that JC Stewart is the JC Stewart of the Macrofeld Food Hall. Although the audio might not be great because I tried to play that into the audio recorder. And I shouldn't be telling you this level of detail of how I fucked this up. But look, if there's a will, I'll find a way. Questions. Ronan Kerrigan says... Okay. He says, love to listen to the podcast while I clean rooms at a nursing home. Late listener, so I've been listening non-stop for the last couple of days. And since I'm not talking to too many people outside my family, I found myself thinking in your voice when I get home from work. Do you think in a voice, or are thoughts more abstract in your moment-to-moment thinking? Ronan, cheers for that. You're never too late to come on board as a sipper. And fair play to everybody that's still sort of out working and getting it done, and sounds like you're providing a great service in your place of work. So that's a good question. I don't always think with a voice in, like, whenever I looked out and I saw the sky look nice, I didn't say in my head to myself out loud in my head, the sky looks nice. I just thought it, so I didn't need to say it in my head. But I guess I think I do my own voice in my head. I think as like someone who's trying to act a bit more and do that kind of thing, like any role I can get, the more roles I can get, the better. And I'm not considering anyone else for the role of the voice in my head. But I would be open to the voice in my head being a different voice. But I feel like I don't say things to myself out loud. I just think it without saying it. I just go, like, say I'm going to be like, I need to get bananas. I don't go in my head to myself, you need to get bananas, or I need to get bananas. I just have the thought in a different part of my brain that just zooms it. Hey man, complicated question, complicated answer, but good to have you on board. Finton Wolf says, best personal sporting moment. I don't like to talk about it, but probably when I played at Seaview and Alan Blaney was in nets, former Premier League and Northern Ireland international goalkeeper. This was only a couple of months ago, and there was like a lot of like ex-internationals playing and whatever, and there was a bit of a crowd at Seaview, and it was for a really good cause. And probably just when I lobbed Alan Blaney, who was a couple of inches off, half an inch off his line, ex-Premier League and Northern Ireland international, and with my bad foot, which is my left foot, although do I have a bad foot? Probably not. I just pinged one into the top corner, so that was pretty decent. And the videos on all my social media channels. Michael Lewis, will you ever be doing any sketches with Dan Watson again? Always enjoyed the early Harlem Gun Club stuff you guys made. The answer is probably I would be surprised if I did, but I might. Like, I just don't think the option to do that would be there. Dan was Thomas the Tanker Smythe in the I Am Fighter videos, and then we did some stuff together. Not for that long, but it was kind of when I started doing sketches on my own. And no, Dan's a very much like his own person, like does his own thing, and we were making loads of videos together, doing loads of stuff. I think it started because I'm pretty sure I have this right. He asked me about doing a football podcast, and we did one for a couple of weeks, like a Premier League football podcast, and then we started doing sketches, and we did that for maybe it was like a year, or I don't know how long it was, but anyway, we even did a live sketch show, which was terrible, but funny in our heads. We just didn't prepare it. I don't know. He kind of just went off the radar with me, and I don't know. Last I heard, I think he lives in London or something, and I don't think he's doing any sort of comedy. Certainly not performing, but he was always he was an excellent writer. Like, I think he's more interested in writing. I have no idea. A bit like people always shouting to me, "Where's Bunter, mate?" People always ask Colin Geddes, "Where's Thomas?" And the answer's kind of like me with Bunter, although I kind of do know where Kieran Bartlett is, especially now because of lockdown. He's in his house. But yeah, I don't know. It was a strange one. He's funny guy, like nice guy. But don't know. Just kind of stopped wanting to do videos together, and it's fucking difficult to talk about. But yeah, I don't know. Would I do videos with him again? Yeah, it'd be weird if he got in touch with me now. I think so long's passed. But yeah, why not? Dan's really funny, and his taxi driver videos that he did are phenomenal. So yeah. Belfast guy in China says, do you think you get enough credit and respect for comedy being your livelihood and income? I often think people see comedians posting things or doing stand-up and think they're just doing it for a laugh, not respecting the fact it's all work. I have huge respect for you and what you do. I would love to challenge 100 people to do your job for a week and see how uncomfortable they are with it. Not many could do it, even less would make anyone laugh. Thanks very much. It's a hard one to answer. I guess whenever you do a job that you've picked to do, you're like, this is the job I want to do, and then you do it because you think you're good at it. So it's not going to feel difficult for you, if that makes sense. So like stand up doesn't feel like it does at times if I do like a bad show or whatever, but that's only temporary. I'm struggling to answer this. Do I feel like I get respect? Yes, because I think when people come and see you do stand up, buy tickets to a show and or share a video or whatever, that is kind of respect. And the number one thing people say when they find out you do stand up is like, fair play to you, mate, or I couldn't do that. So it's an acknowledgement that it's a weird job to do, but I'm not just saying this because I think it sounds good, but especially at the minute when you see like the NHS staff, the frontline workers, all that kind of thing, other key workers, when you see all that kind of stuff, it makes you realise that there's an element of bravery to getting up to do stand up, but it's a totally different thing. So I think stand up is a lovely luxury type job. You do have to work hard to do it and to be good at it, and for people to come back year on year to come see you. But look, I was talking about being lucky to do my dream job. I'm self-employed doing stand-up, so I can take a day off and go and play golf if I wanted to. Or, I'm not saying this to be a wanker, but I could just have a meeting all day with someone or a coffee or whatever. So I think I'm really lucky to do the job, but I don't think it's as difficult. I think there's 1,000 jobs more difficult than stand-up. Sometimes I think of it like this. If you're doing a play, if you're like a stage actor and the play's not going well, you're stuck in that play because you can only do those lines that you've learnt because the other person needs to know your line to do their next scene. Or if you're a singer and people aren't enjoying what you're doing and you've got a set list, or if you're part of a band, you're stuck in that. Stand-up is easier in a way because although it's just you on stage, like one person, so it's a bit more pressure. If I'm halfway through a joke and it's not landing, I can scrap that joke. I can get out of it with one word or whatever, or I can just start talking about something else. So I do think stand-up is an art form, but I don't think of it as this special. It's special to me because it is my favorite thing to do. I love playing football, all that kind of stuff. Stand-up is my favorite thing. I love acting, doing these podcasts. Stand-up I'm first and foremost a comedian, but I don't think of it as this like, oh my god, the craft and all that. It's just it's any job. You work hard at it. You get out what you put in, I think, and you obviously do have to have some sort of natural ability at it. But yeah, I feel like I get respect because I'm able to do it full time. That tells me that I get enough people respect me to do it, that I'm in a position to do that. So yeah, of course though, you're going to get people who think you're doing it for a laugh, or people say like, do you get paid to do your gigs, mate? That I don't know. I wouldn't think that if I was not a comedian. You know what I mean? It does seem like sometimes you just get up for the crack, and also sometimes you do. Sometimes I'll be sitting in the house on a Thursday afternoon and I'll go, oh, I wonder if I drive down to Belfast tonight, will Dave give me 5 minutes in Pug Uglies? And I'm not going to take money for that. Or if I've got a new joke, I can go to Lavery's and see if Colin will let me do 5-7 minutes or whatever. So I hope that wasn't too rambly. I hope in some way that answers your question. Do I feel like I get enough credit for it? Yeah, I'm lucky to have like a following. The following that I have is class. In fact, it's unreal, because if I put out a video, or if I say I'm doing a show, there's sort of already people there like, oh, nice one, or people, I know people will watch it for good or bad, and that is amazing when you consider um when you consider that a lot of the challenge for people is to get people online or whatever to watch their stuff, or to notice them in some way, to have X amount of people follow you on Instagram or whatever, and then they see your stuff and they maybe tell them like that's magic. That's so great, and something that I'm really chuffed to have. So not many people could do it, and even less would make people laugh. No, not many people could do it. But you'd be surprised, because it's the people you think could do it. The people you think could do it probably couldn't, and a lot of the people you don't think could do it would be able to do it. I found with stand-up that people that are, the clown, like always like the center of attention and full of these one-liners, that they always say, they're not going to make good stand-ups in my experience. In my experience, people that are a wee bit more introverted, a wee bit more happy to sort of sit in the background, and instead of being like a joke a minute, they'll wait 10 minutes and do one great one. Like, that is kind of what makes a good stand-up in my book. Thank you very much for the question. We got more questions. That is not a podcast question. This one, though, comes in from Connor, who says, Shane, I'm dating a girl from Belfast. She loves your stuff. She saw you once at Lavery's and doesn't shut up about it. She needs to chill. I'm not from Northern Ireland, so I'm not very adept at picking up on the nuances of her banter, and I was wondering if you could help me out. Does she hate me, or is she roasting, or is roasting your significant other and making jokes at their expense just the way you guys show affection? Cheers. Yeah, 1000%. Like, roasting people and taking the piss is definitely affection for Northern Irish people. Like, there's something that, like, your best friends you will be the harshest to in terms of the way you take the piss out of them, and that's what you want from them. There's nothing funnier to me than being together with a load of mates and you all know each other well, and you say something or do something wrong and they just rip the back out of you. Like, to me, like, I find it funnier when I'm the center of the jokes from my friends. I mean, what I don't like is when people that don't really know you get involved and you're like, alright, Kevin, fuck up. But I like it when you're mates. I like it when you do something wrong and you can hold your hands up and go, no, and your mates just mug you off so bad about it. It means that whatever that bad situation is now a positive thing. And yeah, Connor, you're going to find that people here take the piss out of everything. I think we're really good at not taking ourselves too seriously for the most part, and certainly growing up, like with my family and stuff, it was all about taking the piss out of each other in a loving way, and I love that. I think it's more of a working class thing, just having that thing of being able to give it out and being able to take it, because there's nothing worse than someone who gives it out and then someone makes a joke to them and they're like, the fuck did you say? That is kind of a wee bit of a Belfast thing as well. But yeah, you're going to find that, and good luck with your dating. Yeah, okay. We got more. Oh, someone said happy birthday. It's not my birthday. And someone else has said something that is not a podcast question, but it's a compliment, so I'm half tempted to read it out, but I shan't. Okay, last question. Alistair Key says, favourite food items from a chippy, though Mike McGoldrick probably doesn't know what one is. Yeah, Mike McGoldrick definitely wouldn't know what a chippy is. Like, he would think a chippy is what you call like chip and pin. He wouldn't understand. He'd be there Friday after work. I mean, he doesn't really work. He's like a consultant, but like, he'd have a bottle of red under the arm, some steak, and he would be up the counter. He'd go, do you guys take chippy? He wouldn't understand. My favourite thing from a chippy used to be battered sausage supper. Battered sausage supper. Golden Chip and Dundonald do a really good battered sausage supper. Now, here's the thing. I don't know if I said this in the podcast before. A chippy near me does a steamed fish supper. So, like, it's like a white fish, like a haddock or whatever, or cod, it's called, steamed, no batter, no nothing, no messing about, and chips with it, and the chips are great, and the portion size really good. So, because I can't really have gluten or dairy, oh, special boy, vulnerable. I don't have any of the stuff I used to have in a chippy. So do you know what? I actually love just a big chip, just a big old fucking chip with salt vinegar or red sauce. I feel like you can't go wrong with that. Thank you very much for all the questions that came in. Sorry the audio might have dropped out for a wee bit or not been as good quality. I'm mainly just apologising to producer Dan there. Patreon.com/teawithmepodcast if you want to support the podcast. I'd appreciate that, but don't worry if it's something that you can't do at the minute. I'll wait. I'll be at your door when lockdown. Whenever you're not furloughed, I'll rap your door and go, hey, guy, you owe us a $5. I'm only joking. If you can help out, great. If you can't, don't worry about it. We're just hopefully having great crack on these podcasts. We're back every Wednesday, Friday. The podcast come out. The video version, if you don't know about it, it's on YouTube. Just type in Shane Todd or Tea With Me Podcast. You'll find it. Great guests coming up in the next couple of weeks. And cheers. Thank you very much for listening and watching. This has been the Tea With Me Podcast. Hey, if you know of anyone that works for Ron Seal Paint, just get them to get in touch. Cheers. Keep sipping.